50-kilometer multi-day motorbike loop through Vietnam's northernmost province of Hà Giang. It's said to be one of the best things to do in Vietnam, and it's what we have been most excited for on this entire trip. Riding motorbikes in Southeast Asia has been a bucket list item for us for years, but we encountered a bit of a hurdle when we started to plan this. Long story short, it turns out that we cannot drive a motorbike over 50 cc's here legally, and while many people do drive them without a valid license or permit, our health insurance would not be valid if something happened to us. So we have hired easy riders instead, which are guides that will drive us and we'll be on the back.
We're not gonna lie, this felt pretty lame at first, but in the end, we think it's gonna be even better. We've never driven a motorcycle before, so this will be the safest, plus we'll be able to enjoy the scenery more by not having to focus on the road, and we'll learn a lot by having guides with us. And speaking of guides, we hired our guides through a company called Hà Giang Road Trip, which is a small company with local guides, and this morning we're meeting up with them to kick off this epic motorbike adventure.
Meet Nova and Hugh, our guides, dance partners, and family for the next week on the road.
Nice to meet you.
Here we go! We have only ever been on a motorbike once. It was last week in Hanoi for about 10 minutes, so an entire week on one of these is going to be interesting.
So first impressions after being on the bike for maybe 5 minutes, it's actually pretty comfortable. The seat is nice and cushy, it's not too hard. It's gonna be a fun ride.
I actually feel pretty sturdy on this thing. We made some turns, and I don't feel like I'm going to fall off, so that's a good sign.
We got so many thoughts. We are just getting started. We're maybe 20 minutes in and the scenery is already incredible. It is so much fun. I've never really understood the hype of riding motorcycles or anything, and my dad's side of the family has always been into it, but I'm starting to get it now. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, as Adam said, we're about 20-30 minutes in, and this is already my favorite thing we have done in Vietnam. I'm so excited for the rest of the week.
The smile has not come off my face, and I think it's gonna be like this the entire time. It's like I'm just looking around like smile. The cheeks are gonna hurt by the end of this.
I will say though, my hips are kind of starting to hurt from just kind of the way that my legs are sitting, so I might have to do some stretching. Good thing we are stopping for some breaks, which is what we're doing right now, so. The road is starting to get a lot more mountainous and windy.
This drive is known for its many mountain passes, windy and narrow roads, drop-offs, and rocky cliff sides. And as we started to drive further from Hà Giang, we left the valley and began our first big climb of Bac Sum Pass. As we climbed up this pass, my ears are popping a little bit, and the temperature has dropped a few degrees. It feels real nice.
I surprisingly love the turns. I think they're so fun. We have made it to our first major stop, the Heaven's Gate. The Heaven's Gate sits at about 1,500 meters and has sweeping views of the mountains, rice fields, and villages, and it even has a cafe where you can grab drinks. We got ourselves a mango smoothie, and I can confidently say this is the best view I've ever had while drinking a mango smoothie. Those mountains are so huge! Wow!
Just like our cave tour, they have named some things along the way after female anatomy.
Yeah, very movie.
Vietnam is home to 54 ethnic minorities, and this area of northern Vietnam, near the China border, is home to the Hmong ethnic minority. We stopped at a beautiful lookout where we got to see one of the many villages in this area, and Nova told us that due to the rocky terrain, they can really only grow corn. See all of the golden brown on the ground? Those are the cornfields that in a few months will become green and full of corn. That is what we're going up. Oh my gosh.
The elevation changes on this drive has just been insane. We start in these deep down in these valleys, and then the driver points and says, "We're going way up there." And I'm like, "There's no way."
And it happens in like a minute and a half.
Yeah, and you just zoom up the mountain. Oh man, how wild.
My butt got some air on that one.
We made it to the town of Yen Ming, and it's time for lunch.
Oh my gosh, the food never ends.
Our guides would always order us a handful of local dishes, and we'd eat family style, sampling everything on the table. The food was always delicious
So good. I'm so hungry right now.
and the perfect fuel before getting back onto the bike for the rest of the day.
Still getting the hang of getting on the bike. We are about to go up the Tam Mall Pass, which is one of those iconic passes on this drive. It's just line and line and line.
Oh yeah, wow. We just came up that. It's so cool to be able to come up it and then get on top and be able to see where you just came from.
On the Hà Giang Loop, there are beautiful surprises around every corner, but one of the best surprises was a detour we took to Nova's village. Nova is part of the Hmong ethnic minority and spent part of his childhood in a small village right by the loop. And to get there, we went down a windy mountainous road in an area full of rocky mountains and fields, which create one of the coolest natural contrasts we have ever seen.
Okay, welcome.
We got to visit his uncle's house and meet his aunt, plus some of their cute animals.
We also got to see the school he walked 5 kilometers every day to get to and learned about how self-sufficient the Hmong are, utilizing natural resources like rainwater to have drinking water, plus cows to plow the fields, since the terrain is too steep and rocky for machinery.
We left feeling extremely grateful to have local guides that can share part of their culture with us and open their home to us. Learning about how others grew up and live is one of the best parts of travel. It opens your eyes to different ways of life and helps you appreciate things that you take for granted every day. Watch out! What an incredibly special experience. This is exactly why we wanted to hire a guide, because we wanted to learn more about the culture of the people who live in this part of Vietnam, and this is something that we could have never done on our own. Yeah, this is making me kind of glad we didn't drive ourselves. The scenery has been jaw-dropping the entire day. I don't think we've had 1 second without just a gorgeous view around us. We just made one final stop before we get to our stopping point for the day. And just look at this. These mountains are just towering. They're so dramatic looking.
Every single person we've met since being here in Vietnam said that this was the most beautiful part of the country, and they are 1,000% correct. The cost of the private tour we booked is 660 USD per person, which is our most expensive experience here in Vietnam. But this includes all of our meals, the bikes, our guides, any entrance fees, and the lodging for the entire trip. And each night we're staying in a different place, and tonight we're staying in a hotel in Dong Van, which is a much bigger town than we were expecting. Room is full, but it's pretty nice. PC and Wi-Fi.
We have another feast for dinner, and I'm so excited. That beef is real good.
Today we're riding from Dong Van to Mae Vac, which we hear may be the most scenic part of the entire trip, so we are super excited. But first we're taking a quick detour to the Lung Ku Flag Tower. We're getting really close to the flag tower, but the road leading to it goes really close to the China border, right on the top of this hill here.
We can see the fence along the border, just right in front of us. Oh my gosh, there's China! That's China right there! Every time we are near a border, I just freak out because I think it's the coolest thing ever to be able to see into another country. That is a huge flag. We are heading up to the top of the flagpole. To get there, we have to walk up about 400 steps or so. I am so out of breath right now. Whew.
The tower is 33 meters tall and represents the northernmost point of Vietnam, although the border with China and the actual northernmost point is still a few kilometers north, and the flag at the top is 54 square meters, representing the 54 ethnic groups of Vietnam. The view from up here is incredible. You're kind of in a bowl of these pointy mountains. It's spectacular.
And as you can tell, it's really windy. They picked a great spot to have a flag waving.
The next mountain is China. Vámonos!
I figured since they're teaching me Vietnamese, I can teach them the little bit of Spanish that I know. We made it back to Dong Van and we just had a delicious fried rice lunch, and now we're off to Ma Pi Lang Pass, which is said to be the most beautiful pass in all of Vietnam.
This is some of the craziest scenery I've ever seen. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That wasn't even the pass. Now we're going on the pass. Riding along the steep mountains of the Mapilang Pass is an incredible experience in itself, but even more so when you think about how it came to be. The 185-kilometer road from Hà Giang, where we started, to Mayovac, where we'll be ending our day, was a huge feat to build. From 1959 to 1965, thousands of local workers plus volunteers from nearby provinces built this road using mostly hand tools and enduring tough terrain and conditions. And upon its completion, it was given the nickname Happiness Road because of how many people came together to open rural parts of Vietnam to the rest of the country, giving locals more opportunities. And we can confirm that it brought a lot of happiness to us as well.
This view is insane. You have these towering mountains and the No Quay River running right through it, which originates in China.
Not only do we get to see the river from above, but we're actually about to go all the way down to it to go on a boat ride. I have a feeling it's going to be a steep ride down there. This part of the road is pretty crazy. It is narrow, it is steep, it is windy, and at some points there is no guardrail. It's just drop off to your death. I'm just really glad that we are not driving right now. It's bumpy. Oh my gosh. I feel like my thighs are holding on for dear life. I keep sliding closer and closer to Sybil.
What a drive that was, huh?
That was crazy.
Thousands of feet down. That was crazy.
Everything is sore because I was holding on so hard.
Going downhill is tough to stay in the saddle.
Not only does this boat ride take us on the river, but it also takes us through Tucson Alley, which is the deepest canyon in Southeast Asia.
This is a massive canyon. We're right in between the tallest part of the walls. We've driven through some big canyons, but I don't think we've ever boated through one. This is crazy.
I can't even fit the whole canyon in the camera anymore. It's so tall.
Apparently you can swim on this boat trip, so here we go. It's cold.
I don't have a swimsuit.
Swimming in the deepest canyon in Southeast Asia. Just check out that view. Wow, that was awesome.
That was absolutely magical. If you come here, try to come close to sunset because the golden lighting was just stunning.
Wow. Our guides are just too much fun.
Now we have the steep ride back up.
After making the short but steep drive to Mayovac, we checked into our hotel for the night before heading out to dinner with our guides. We had asked Hugh what his favorite food was earlier in the day, and he said goat meat, so we enjoyed some goat hot pot in his honor.
Oh boy, what a day.
It was a short day in terms of distance, but it was loaded with epicness. And we are so pooped.
Nâng cấp cách bạn giao dịch với ứng dụng di động Xness. Giao dịch với khả năng khớp lệnh nhanh chóng và nắm bắt cơ hội trong chớp mắt bất kể.
Here in Mayovac is normally where you'd start to head south on the Hà Giang Loop, but we're actually not going to be finishing the full loop and instead are going to continue 160 kilometers east towards Khao Bang. While we wish we could see the second half of the loop, we still have so many more amazing spots we're going to check out over the next 4 days, and we cannot wait.
1, 2, 3, day 3!
Day 3 started out with super windy roads, down mountains, and through small villages. And one big difference that we noticed from the previous days is that there were no other tourists around. Even though the Hà Giang Loop is pretty remote and takes a bit of work to get to, it is extremely popular with tourists, and today it felt like we were just riding with the locals. We had done a ton of research on the Hà Giang Loop and seen many photos, but for this next part of the drive, we really have no idea what to expect, which is making today extra exciting as everything is kind of a surprise. And they just took us to this bridge on a river, and we came across some local kids that are just swimming and jumping in the water, and it is just awesome.
We're giving them our GoPro so they can jump off with it.
That's awesome.
After crossing that river, we're now in the province of Khao Bang. Goodbye, Hà Giang. We've stopped for lunch in the village of Bao Lac, and we've got a fried chicken feast. We also have a huge mound of sweet potato leaf topped with tons of garlic and sticky rice. I call it Crispies on there. Good and crispy, tender, juicy.
I got a really fatty piece. I like it. Bye-bye. Thank you. We're about to go up that. Holy cow. This is so crazy.
Whoa, what a ride that was.
Hand hug. That pass that we just went up is called Coco Cha, and it also has another name that means pig intestines in Vietnamese because it is so windy. It has 14 different turns. That was the craziest road I've ever been on. The top of the pass has the cutest cat, the sweetest cat, probably the friendliest cat I've ever met, actually.
I know. Me too.
Me too! One thing I like about this tour is that we make frequent stops, not only to admire the scenery, but just to give your body a little bit of a break too. How's your butt doing?
Currently inflating right now.
More curves, here we go! Tonight we're staying at the May Farm Stay in the Nama Village, and this place is a magical garden just tucked between tons of mountains. We have a private room, which is basically made out of all wood, and more importantly, we have a private bathroom, and this place just feels like absolute paradise. And they have a dog. This is the best place ever.
It has been an incredible first few days. It's almost hard to put into words just how special this trip has been, but luckily it is not over yet. We still have 3 more days on this motorbike trip and so much more to see, so stay tuned.
He's like an astronaut. Right, Houston, we have a problem. Oh my gosh. The camera eats first. That was cooler in my head. And more importantly, we have a private bathroom.
As heavy as you.
He won't let us carry it,
Yeah.
but it's so heavy. Yeah, like a robot.
Obtén tu dominio hoy con GoDaddy.